Good evening, dear friends. Hope you're all having a wonderful day. Let's do today's Daily Mitzvah. We are continuing the beautiful and fascinating mitzvah that the Jewish people are empowered to create the Jewish months, month by month, and that it's not a top-down calendar, but it's a calendar that's made on a monthly basis by the people, for the people. And it has to be done with eyewitness testimony. Two Jews coming to the Sanhedrin, to the Supreme Court in Jerusalem. It all has to come out of Israel, out of Jerusalem. And the court has to corroborate, it has to investigate and cross-examine these two witnesses to make sure that they have witnessed the birth of the new moon, the new crescent. And then they announce to the Jewish people, we are beginning today a brand new month. And that is how the Jewish year worked. Today, let's learn another detail of this mitzvah. One of the things that the Supreme Court, that the Sanhedrin had to be on top of on an annual basis is the concept of creating a leap year. Now, a Jewish leap year is that most years are 12 months. That's generally how we think of a year. 12 months, and we're back again at the beginning of the cycle, and a new year begins. But in the Jewish calendar, we have to add every few years a 13th month. And here's the reason. The way the Jewish month is built is that it is a lunar calendar. We follow months based on the moon, which means when the moon there's a rebirth of the moon, that is the beginning of the month. The moon wanes, and there's the total eclipse of the moon. That is the end of the month and the beginning of the new month. And 12 months, 12 cycles of the moon waxing and waning is just about a year. The only problem is that 12 lunar months is 11 days short of the solar cycle, which is the cycle of the seasons. So the solar cycle, which is what the Gregorian calendar is built on, is 365 days. The lunar cycle is 11 days plus change shorter, which means that if you create a year of 12 lunar months, you are every single year falling 11 days behind. And what that means is that eventually the Jewish calendar is going to fall every single year, 11 days behind, and holidays are not going to have a season. So from the first year, Pesach is in the spring, but the next year, Pesach comes 11 days earlier. All right, not too bad. But 2 years later, Pesach comes a full 30 days earlier, or 33 days earlier than 3 years ago. And eventually, Pesach starts falling behind into the winter, and then into the fall, and then you'll have Pesach in the summer, because every single year we're falling 11 days behind. So for that reason, we have to create every few years, roughly every 3 years, a leap year. We're going to add a brand new month, which is the month of Adar. It's always the month of Adar, which is a month right before Passover. And the way it worked was that the Sanhedrin would create a committee with either 3 or 5 justices. So the Jewish Sanhedrin, talk about court packing, had 71 chief justices, or I was called 71 justices on the Supreme Court, and there was one chief justice. The chief justice was called the Nasi of the Beis Din. The president, or the chief justice of the court, he would commission a little committee of either 3 or 5 justices, including him, and they would have a discussion. Should this year be a leap year? And they would look at the signs. Do we see that spring is too far off? Do we see that the fruits are not budding yet? Well, that would probably be a pretty good indicator that we need to add a leap year. We need to add an extra month like that. Pesach comes in the spring, because that's what the Torah says. The Pesach needs to be in the spring. It can't be in any other season. And there would also be some other concerns. For example, if there was a pretty bad year, there's a lot of rain, and the roads are totally swamped, and people won't be able to travel to Jerusalem to do the pilgrimage, to visit the Beis Hamikdash for Pesach, which is a biblical mitzvah. Jewish people have to visit the Beis Hamikdash on Pesach. And the bridges have been destroyed, so it's a danger for Jews to travel. That could also be a pretty good reason to make this year, you know what? It's not going to be good if we need to give an extra 30 days to do repairs and to help the Jewish people come to Jerusalem. Okay, we're going to make this year a leap year. And through that system, again, all happening in live time, by the people, for the people. This is how the Jewish calendar was made, and this is the detail of creating the leap year to help keep that balance and consistency throughout the years of the Jewish calendar. Dear friends, that's today's Daily Mitzvah. See you all very soon for our next Daily Mitzvah. Take care and Zai Gesund.